And one of the reasons I took so long for this dungeon in my practice run is probably the... Okay, what's happening here? What is that hitting on? Do I need to do it from above or something? Luckily there's like a billion stuff in here. I could have sworn there was a fairy somewhere around here, but I'll get to it when I get to it. Everything seems to be at least somewhat biased against me in this run so far, which is good. I'm only 43 minutes into it. I'll probably need to stop to preserve video quality since I've noticed my last few are sort of laggy since I've decided that I no longer need to restart my computer or do anything to make sure my quality isn't going to be screwed up from some unknown factor like leaving Skype on in the background. Because I have been actually quite lucky for the past several times and not actually had to re-record or, well, I guess, or nothing. I just haven't had to re-record anything for a long time. I swear there was some other... Okay, yeah, there are just two fairies randomly in bubbles in here. I knew there was another fairy in that general vicinity that was easy to get. I don't know how you're supposed to get this if you can't get it. Whatever, I'll do it that way. Maybe I'll do it in the way where now, for no reason, it stops being a jerk and ignoring my arrows. It seems like a fun way. Yeah, it was a fun way. Doo-doo-doo-doo. Oops, I guess Gorons and fairies can't coexist. Doesn't exactly make sense why your other forms can't wear masks, but I guess it's sort of like a thematic thing in that you can't wear a mask when you're already masking your true identity because Link is like upset that all of his stuff was beaten off of him from the Skull Kid and he's trying to find his identity, and this game is really deep, except I do not have the best Let's Play style to emphasize that. Of course, I guess the normal hyper Let's Players wouldn't do it so great either, but okay, that was bad. I don't know what I was trying to do. I was trying to, like, what's the word? Okay, I've totally forgotten all my Mario Kart nomenclature, but, I was trying to do the thing where you sharply turn. Okay, I was expecting that to come back to me in the time it took for me to explain what it was. And yeah, there are those Isophos or whatever they're called there, but they're not really a big deal considering Goron can roll through them. Oh no, it's a thing. Yeah, this is like the worst main room ever. I mean, dungeons that even have main rooms are kind of bad because that means they're too confusing. I don't even know what I'm talking about, but still. Anyway, I have absolutely no idea what to do here because I basically just wandered around forever. You need the fire arrows to melt most of the ice in this dungeon, but to make a shortcut through that one room between the beginning and here, you can do that. Take my word for it that the entrance is on the other side of that. And I guess it's the only accessible room. Okay, yeah, this is cool. I sort of know where to go from here. Now, this is actually a bit misleading if you're not overly paying attention to stuff. There's actually a key in here, which I think, well, it couldn't have taken the compass for me to figure out, but I initially thought you were supposed to do something with these blocks, which confused me since they're too high, you can't actually climb on top of them. You do need to push them over here for later, though. Always wondered why it has to go like a block by block system and then you stop inexplicably. Why don't you just, I mean, I know in the other games you don't do it that way, but maybe you do because I haven't really played any other Zelda games because this is the best one, but well, I mean, I have played basically all of them, but I meant recently. Anyway, now we can go back to the beginning and get through that locked door. This is actually a really straightforward dungeon for this part. I think it's constantly a very straightforward dungeon. I was just being dumb my first run through of it. And normally I was checking for stray fairies in each room, but I happen to know where most of them are, and going in the complete opposite direction of where I want to go is a good idea, right? I just wanted to avoid the wolfos because they're so stupid. Anyway, another room that's... I mean, this is probably the reason why this dungeon is so confusing. It's very aesthetically similar to the last one. It has blocks and slidey things making up most of it. And wow, I took a really long time digging around in the main rooms trying to figure out where to go. Because it took me like 20 minutes of my practice run to show up here, and oh great, I always think it looks sort of funny when you have the compass but not the compass. And there's a lot of stuff you can do in this room. I think all of which involves fairy finding, but none of it is important right now, although there is one thing I will try to do right now, and it's totally not going to fail over and over and over. Oh gosh, it didn't. Anyway, there's a fairy in there. That was actually the last one. I couldn't find it until the end, when I'm actually proud of myself that I didn't use my guide to look up anything for these first two dungeons. I'm thinking that might change soon, but I was just going through each room with the fairy's mask and checking if it had any fairies left in it until I got all of them, which I'm sort of proud of myself for. And anyway, this is something that bothers me a lot. Why does the Goron... I mean, I understand why the Goron can't climb up, but it looks really dumb when he's like 1.5 times the size of Young Link, but you have to switch to Young Link in order to climb up on a platform. Anyway, a lot of these dumb ice things that have too many cinematics, and I have too many not very good aims. Basically, you just free up a bunch of rupees, which actually that's a lot more rupees than I thought there were in any dungeon. I just sort of assumed I'd like get them through pots and stuff, but nope, there is plenty of rupees. Yes, there is plenty of rupees in this dungeon. And yeah, what about 24 of those will go wasted, oh well. Anyway, now it's a pretty simple matter of just going from platform to platform, assuming you can stay on any of the platforms. Anyway, I guess it might not be obvious just yet, but I think eventually you're forced to go on one of these, but there are these platforms that are signified by a little thing in the wall that you can look at with the lens of truth, but I know where they are already, and that's where a decent amount of stray fairies are hidden, and now there is no stray fairies left in here, and if I somehow lose rupees, which I think is entirely impossible in this game, I have another extra one I can go pick up. I got another small key that I can immediately use on the dungeon door right here. Okay, I have no idea how I had trouble with this dungeon. I guess it had to do with the fact that I came into it not knowing what to do, and then ended up not knowing what to do. This is actually a pretty clever stray fairy. If I talk fast enough, it will make up for my insecurities, right? Okay. Yeah, this is not a good one to blindly shoot at. Yeah, because I sort of thought it was in that one discolored-ish part, except that it wasn't at all. Anyway, that's one of my favorite stray fairies, and okay, it ran away when I slashed it. This is a pretty cool puzzle, I guess. There have been cooler. Oh great, yeah, another thing where you have to switch to Baby Link in order to do a thing. I might get a... I don't seem to recall it ever happening, but there is a potential that perhaps you would get a chest from killing all the enemies in a room. So I sort of want to do it always, even though I know all the fairies in this. I mean, I'll be able to find them as I come across them. I don't exactly know them off the top of my head. Randomly breaking these crates are just too hard and completely pointless. Anyway, oh no, that thing we pushed up to get across blocked the door. Whatever shall we do? Blop. This one's a timed one. Looks like we'll have to be timed. Luckily, the timer is very generous. I actually am beginning to wonder, I wonder if the Song of Inverted Time affects timers. I really doubt it, because that wouldn't really make very much sense, but it does infect, or yes, it does infect some weird things, although most of those weird things are directly tied into the time, so it makes sense that when you slow down time, you slow down them. I mean, like, more affected by time than logic would imply. I mean, they're actually scripted to be at place X at time Y. I feel like there's something up here, but instead there isn't.